I think this will be our hardest block of Enchanted Winter, but we got this, right? Hi everyone, Cristin here, and we are continuing with our Enchanted Winter quilt with our sponsor Daylily Fabric Shop. Didn't they do a great job? Oh my goodness. They have jumped through all the hoops and we are so thankful. So we are just jamming along actually. We just started this quilt on Tuesday and we already have several blocks done. So we have 2 of our snowflake blocks, one for the section we're doing now and one for a later section. And then we also have the mittens block, and that came out so cute. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this one. That is just so fun. Super cute. And then that snowman block, that one took some time, huh? At least on my end, because I have to take pictures of every little step, and there were lots of steps to this one. But it's so darn cute. I love how he came out. Super fun. So we have all of those done. And so today we're going to work on the pieced corner blocks. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know that the pieced blocks are actually my favorite. Any of the piecing projects, they're my personal favorite. I really, really like them. But they're also a little difficult, a little stretching kind of. So I'm going to bring you over to the computer after we're done talking about what we need for today, and I'm going to piece it all together in what will work. And then I'm going to do, I'm thinking I'm going to do all 8 of them. So we need a corner block, and a corner block takes 4 blocks. So it'll be, I assume, several hoopings. I haven't brought it to the computer yet and tested it out, but we'll see together how it works. But I'm going to do it in a way that if you've done pieced blocks with me before, you've seen I put both fabrics down at the same time, or all the fabrics, each one for each section. So it takes a little work on the front end to get it all right in software. But then on the back end, it's pretty quick and easy. So that's my plan. You can always do, like I've always said, you can do these blocks without any software. You can choose to join the quilting, not join the quilting, whatever works for you. I'm just going to show you one way. There's always many, many ways. All right, one thing is, if you are going to do this without my instruction, just know that the quilting needs to go on top. All right, and so remember I mentioned that there's 5 parts of the quilting: the placement and tack down of the batting, the placement and tack down of the main fabric, and then the quilting design. So we want all of those. We want the batting parts down first, but then we want to separate it and have the quilting be on top of the completed project. So I'm going to walk you through all of that step by step using software. But if you're not going to use my method, then just make sure to get your quilting on top. Okay. All right, so the pieced corner blocks, there's quite a bit to it. I put them all in one. We only need one corner block, which remember I said that's 4 parts. We only need one of them for section 1 now, and then one of them for section 3. Since we're going to do this, I'm just going to do them all together, but that's totally up to you. All right, so grab your packet. If you made packets, I'm going to sneeze. This is for the pieced corner block. I don't want to sneeze on camera. All right, so grab all of your parts. And I did put them in order so that I know what is what, and I'm going to go over them with you. I'll give several tips. One big tip is that if you put all of your pieces in order that you're going to use them, then it's quicker and easier too. And we'll go through it. And once you get started, the tutorial will help a lot because it really shows all the parts of what you're putting down. But once you get going on it, it's not that difficult. And like I said, it's my personal favorite. It's like a little brain work. You have to pay attention to what you're doing, and I enjoy that. So, all right, pieced corner block. They are on page 42 of your book. And I'm going to give you the fabric numbers so that you know what they are. When I'm giving you the fabric numbers in the beginning of the tutorials, what I'm talking about is on page 5 and 6, where it lists out all of the fabrics and they're numbered. All right, so I'm going to give you that information so you know, but I'm also going to describe the fabrics so you may not need your book too, whatever works for you. All right, so the first one, piece 1, is fabric number 2, and that's where it gets a little confusing. So piece 1 is fabric number 2, and it is this aqua fabric. All right, it's a silky solid, no design to it. And remember, in the prep video, I mentioned you do not need to stabilize these. You can. I actually used to always stabilize my piece projects, but when you do, I will tell you, it makes it more difficult. You're like holding everything in place. And so it is more difficult, and you don't really need it. There's so many fabrics and the batting that you don't really need it, but on one of them we will. Or at least it's recommended to. So no stabilizer on these. All right, I'm doing it without stabilizer. So this is the aqua one. It is piece 1, fabric number 2, and we want 8 of these in 3x3. All right, 3x3, 8 of them. All right, and this is for all of the, let's see, yep, for 8. Yeah, it'll be for all of them. I have to think about that, make sure. My goodness. It must be, because it says 8 of them. All right, so we're okay. Sorry, I had a little think there. All right, so 8 pieces of this one in 3x3. That's for piece number 1, all right? And then piece number 2 is also aqua, but this one's got a design to it. It's got the flowers on it. I think it's called tufted, if I recall. So this one, we want 8 pieces. This is fabric number 5, by the way. Fabric number 5 for piece number 2. And this one, we want 8 pieces that are 4, this way, 4 by 2.5. All right, 4 by 2.5, 8 pieces. This is for fabric number 2. And I will tell you where we're going to be. And they give a little guide, which I will copy and I will add it into our tutorial too, so that you can see how we do it. Don't worry. All right, we're going to put on our big girl panties and be ready for this, because this one, it'll be a big day. All right, so the next one we're going to use in 2 different places. So we have lots of them. Look at this. I was like, oh, we have a lot of this piece. So this is fabric piece number 3 and piece number 4, and it is fabric number 1. All right, it is a blue tufted, flowers on it, pretty fabric. It's like a periwinkle blue. I really like this blue. It's like my favorite blue, actually. All right, so this one, we are going to have 16 pieces that are 3.5 by 3.5. And again, if you're only doing one of the corner pieces, like leaving the section 3 one for later, then you would want half of these for now. All right, so 8 pieces, 16 actually, because it's 2 pieces. So 2 areas for this one. So 16 pieces total, 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, and again, I did not stabilize these. All right, that's for piece number 3 and piece number 4. Piece number 5, this is the one that Kimberbell recommends that you do stabilize, because you can see it's white. All right, anything that is white, they will always recommend using stabilizer. And the reason is because when it goes against this, you don't want to see the blue, you want to see the white. All right, so I did stabilize these. I did my method where it's cut in a little bit, if you can see that. All right, so this one, it is piece number 5, and it is fabric number 7. All right, and we are going, in this one, we did stabilize. This one is 8 pieces at 7 by 2.5. 7 by 2.5. All right, 8 pieces for fabric number, piece number 5. Let's just go with that, piece number 5. All right, and then piece number 6, again, not stabilized. All right, this is the pretty blue with little flowers on it. I used to know what the name of it was, but I don't recall. Anyway, this one is piece number 6. It's fabric number 11. You can see it's the blue with little flowers on it, and I did not stabilize them. And this one, we're going to have 8 pieces at 4.5 by 2.5. 4.5 by 2.5, okay? And that's all of the fabric pieces. And then we need our batting. We always use batting. So we're going to have 8 pieces of batting. It's 8 blocks total, all right, to create those 2 corner blocks. I hope I'm not totally confusing you, but 8 pieces of batting, and this is going to be 5 by 5. 5 by 5 for your batting, 8 pieces. All right, and then 4 of the blocks we are going to quilt in one quilting design, and then 4 in another quilting design. I assume all of them will be for section 1, and then all of them will be for section 3, but I'll know further when we get going. All right, so the first one for section 1, probably design A, to look at that. So anyway, for that one, for the first set, we're going to use Plant 15. We haven't seen that one yet. That'll be fun. It's in the Enchanted Winter Quilting Bundle. And as always, you can use any quilting design that you want that is in a 4x4 design. All right, so it's Plant 15 in a 4x4 design. All right, that's for 4 of the blocks. For the other 4 blocks, we're going to use Winter 7, that really pretty snowflake one. That one, I don't know about Plant. I haven't looked at it yet, but the snowflake one is very detailed. And in my opinion, on the piece blocks, it's kind of easier if you do a quilting design that's not super busy, because it's going over all those layers of fabric and they're folded over, and it's quite a lot. In the Snowflake 7, it was pretty detailed, if I recall. We used it on our snowman and our mittens block, I think. So anyway, Winter 7 in a 4x4. All right, so the first 4, Plant 15 in 4x4, and the second 4 will be Winter 7 in 4x4. And if you haven't done a piecing project with me before, I have to tell you, so one of the gals sent me one of those water pens. I don't recall exactly what they're called. I will add a link though, but look at, have you seen these? They make piecing projects really easy, really easy. So it makes it a lot easier. And I will show this during the project while I'm working on it. But this thing is in my Amazon storefront. I will add it here. I don't remember off the top of my head what it's called. But anyway, it's in my storefront in like essentials items, that first tab. So it makes piecing projects super easy. All right. So I will be using this and I will recommend it. You can get it pretty quick on Amazon. All right. Let's see if there were any other notes. So one funny thing is I was going to do this first. This was going to be our first block that we work on for Enchanted Winter. And I thought, oh boy, that's probably not a good idea. So be glad we're doing it later. We've done a few blocks. We're getting back into the swing of things, doing our Enchanted Winter quilt. So it's time to jump in. We're ready for this. We got this. All right, so I'm going to walk you through it step by step, and there's a lot of steps to piecing projects. Oh, now I see the quilting design. They're both pretty busy. That Plant 15 is not nearly as busy as the Snowflake one, though, so I think that one will be a little easier. I'll probably start with that one, but anyway, we are going to make sure to put our quilting on the top. That's the super important thing, because you know it's not set up that way. When you do a piecing project, generally we do our quilting first and then we do the embroidery design. And if you did that, you'd have all of those pieces of fabric over your quilting. So that's the big thing to point out, is we're going to move that design, and I'll walk you through how to do that. Even if you're not going to use software, I would recommend watching the software portion so that you get a visual of what to do here. And you can do it on your machine. You can do it with other software, whatever works for you. But I'm going to walk you through it all step by step. I think that's it. I don't see any other notes on this. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring you over to the computer, and we're going to do this. It's going to be really fun. I love these blocks. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now, and we are going to see how it looks to get how many of these that we can fit in a hoop. So this will depend on your hoop size, of course. So I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials. Like I said, even if you don't use this software, I'd recommend watching this part so that you can see how to do it in your own way. All right, so when we first open up Embellishment Essentials, right down here at the bottom, it shows the hoop size we're on. I'm on my 9x14 hoop. That's what I use for my snowman. I think we're going to need bigger, but let's go ahead and just check. So I'm going to start by bringing in the quilting design, and then I'm going to bring in the piece block design. So I'm going to open up my Enchanted Winter folder where I have all my designs. You can do it that way, or you can come up to this Merge Stitch File button and navigate to the folder that you want. All right, so I'm going to start with the quilting bundle and that Plant 15 in a 4x4. Block by block is the technique we're using. I use Pez for my machine, 4x4 plant. All right, so I'm just dragging it, I'm grabbing it and dragging it over there. Okay, so that's good. And then I'm going to go to my designs. Sorry, I'm getting messages, and my stomach's growling. That seems to be a common issue right now. And all my videos, I do it too close to dinner time. So I am, let's see, I'm back in my quilting bundle. I want my quilting design, so not there. Let's go back here and Enchanted Winter Final Folder, Embroidery, Files, Pez, and we're looking for the pieced corner block. So 5x7 pieced corner block. And then I'm just going to drag that over. It'll go right on top of the other one. I'm going to close down this folder. All right, so if you're just doing one at a time, you could do it like this, but don't forget I said you have to bring that quilting design to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all the changes to this one and then just copy and paste so that I can get more of them. So I'm going to start, let's see, I'm going to change the colors in the quilting design and in the design, because let me show you. There's all those default blue and default oranges. Those will join together. We don't want that to happen. And then look at all these default blues and oranges. So if you were to do a color sort, it would all join all of those together, and you'd have to put everything down at once, and obviously that won't work. So we're going to change up the colors. When we change the colors, it creates a stop, all right? And that's all we want, is we want to be able to work one piece at a time, so we want that stop. So I'm going to go ahead and change it. So I have to think about this. So if we do, don't forget we want the quilting design to be last, but I do still want my placement and tack down of my batting. The placement and tack down of the main fabric, we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight these steps 3 and 4 and delete them on my keyboard. All right. So then I just have the placement and the tack down for the batting, and then I have the quilting design, which we want that at the end. So here's an easy way to do the quilting design at the end. We can, once you do a color sort, everything becomes one design and you can easily move things around from there. So that's one easy way, but that's after the fact and you might forget. So I'm going to show you another way. If I click on just the quilting design, it's design number 1, and I say Control C to copy it and then Control V like victory to paste it, it goes at the bottom. All right, and so then I have that whole quilting design, which I don't need all of it. I'll show you what I'm going to do, but we've got the corner block in the middle, so that's perfect. So right now I'm going to click on 1, 3. Don't forget, I opened the design by clicking this plus sign, all right? So we want that open so we can see it. And I don't want this quilting design here, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. All right, so now I just have the placement and the tack down for my batting. I do wanna change those colors so it doesn't conflict with the ones that are in the corner blocks. I'm gonna go ahead and do that while I'm here. So I'm gonna click on 1, 1 and click on the color. And I'm on palettes because of something else I was working on. So I'm going to just go back to the threads option here. And I'm in Fill-Tech Glide, and I'm just going to choose the first color that comes up for me, and that is Grotto Blue. I'm going to say OK. All right, and then 1, 2, click on the color down here in the Properties window, and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up for me, that's Pumpkin, and say OK. All right, so those are just changed. It doesn't matter what color they are, we just want them changed. Now I'm going to bypass number 2 for just a minute here. I'm going to open up number 3, and since I've already got my placement and tack down on my batting up here, I'm going to highlight these and I'm going to delete them. So then all I have is the quilting design, and I don't think there's turquoise anywhere else. I might as well just change it while I'm here though, just in case. So I'm going to click on 3, 1 and click on the color, and I'm going to change it to Sprout. All right, so now all of 1 is done and all of 3 is done, and number 2, look at all of these. We got to change all of those. It'll just take a minute, don't worry. All right, so I'm just going to click on one at a time and just change the color. So 2, 1, how pretty is that? I like that color. I'm going to click on the color and I'm going to change it to the first color that comes up for me, that's Wine, which is funny. You think it'd be Bloom. It looks more like that, Bloom, but whatever color, it doesn't matter. Say okay. All right, and then I'm going to go to 2, 2, click on the color, and don't forget we already used Grotto Blue, so I'm going to use the second color down. For me, that's Brittany Blue. And again, it doesn't matter what color as long as it's not a color you've already used. All right, and then click on 2, 3, click on the color, and we've got Mars is the first color. and then 2, 4. And again, if yours is set to like Floriani or some other thread, you'll have different colors, and it doesn't matter the thread colors. It just matters that you're changing so that you get a stop. Lily, she's giving herself a bath. Sorry. All right, so we've got Mars for 2, 3. So now 2, 4, click on that color down in the properties window. We already used Grotto Blue and Brittany Blue. So I'm going to use, and you can always see here what colors that you finished on. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one down, which is Mercury, and say okay. All right, and then 2, 5, click on the color, and we already used Mars, so I'm going to use Sun-Kissed Peach. All right, and then 22, 6, and we said 26, 2, 6. Click on the color, and the last one we used was Mercury, so I'm going to come down from Mercury and go to Air Force. And that's a good color. My father was in the Air Force. All right, and then 2, 7, click on the color, and our last one was Sun-Kissed Peach, so I'm going to use Peach. And then 2, 8, scroll down a little, 2, 8, click on the color, and our last one was Air Force, so I'm going to use Marine. Okay. And then 2, 9, click on the color. Our last one was Peach. I'm going to use Orange. And 2, 10, click on the color. And our last one was Marine. So I'm going to use Hawaiian Blue. And then 2, 11, click on the color. And we used Orange. So I'm going to use Apricot. And then 2, 12, click on the color. And I'm just going to use Black. All right, so I changed all the colors so that I know what's what, so that nothing will join without me knowing what they all are. All right, and we've got our placement and tack down of our batting as our first step, and we have our quilting design as our last step. So that's perfect. All right, so that's all done. Excuse my tummy, I'm hungry, I need dinner. All right, so I can tell right now that it's not going to fit. I'm in my 9x14 hoop, and having 2 of them side by side is going to be too close. Now keep in mind that your stress level of what's too close is going to be different than my stress level of what's too close, but also keep in mind that those fabrics don't fit right in that block. They're going to overlap. So the less stress, the better, in my opinion. But I'm going to try my 10x10 hoop, and I think it'll even be a little tight for that, but that's what I'm going to try, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to come up here to the preferences window, the preferences tab, and I'm going to choose my 10x10 hoop and say, okay, if you don't have that large of a hoop, it's fine. You can do, again, depending on your stress level, you could fit 3 in, no, you could fit, well, no, I would say 2. I would say probably a max of 2. Maybe you could do 3, depending on what works for you. But depending on your hoop size, you would just use whatever hoop size that works for you to be able to have room for many or less. You know, I'm going to try for 4 in one hooping, but if it stresses me out too much, I'm going to do 2 in a hoop, and then I have to do 4 hooping. So that's the point, is if I get 4 in one hooping, I'm doing 2 hoopings. It's pretty quick and easy, a little stressful, making sure the fabrics don't overlap, but I think it's probably doable. We'll see. All right, so right now I have these all joined together. So you can see I clicked outside of the design and I grabbed it all that way, or I can do it from the bottom here and drag up. Whatever works for you, all right, but you just don't want them to move around. So the other option is you can come up to, I think it's edit, and then group them. Let's see if that makes it so, yep, so that makes it so that they're all together and it doesn't matter where I click it. That's a good idea. You can group it. All right, so I'm just going to bring it over to the corner. So this part here is different. I've never done a piece block that has these little arrows here. I'm assuming it's for our sewing purposes. I'm not absolutely sure, but it does make it so that you have a little bit less space. But even if you didn't have that, we always have had to worry about these extra lines that stick out past the, what do you call it, the piecing template. All right, so this is our piece, our placement and tack down of our batting is really going to be our piecing template. And it's always had these little pieces that will run further out. So we've always had to worry about those anyway. So having those little arrows isn't going to matter too much. All right, I'm going to look at that piecing template real quick. So that's our piecing template right there. So the first part of the actual design, not the quilting. All right, so I'm going to click outside, so nothing selected. I moved that up into the corner, making sure that nothing is overlapping. You don't want it to go over your hoop. All right, you want to make sure it's within that hoop. Okay, and I didn't click on this H button. It might give us a little more. Yeah, we can see a little better. All right, so when you click on the compass and then H for hoop, it zooms into the hoop. All right, so that one is done. That is great, super easy. Now we can, since it's grouped, we can click on that and we can see that it's got all the parts. And I'm gonna say Control C to copy and then Control V like victory to paste. And paste it right on top of that first one. Let's see if I close this. Oh, you know what, we didn't do it. Let's do a color sort first. No, we'll do it at the end. My mistake, sorry. All right, so I have all of these, because I wanted to do them all together. I believe that we'll do it at the end with the color sort. So I copied one on top of the other, so I'm just gonna grab it and move it over, making sure it's not going over the hoop at all. And that's our second one. Then Control V again, V like victory, to paste a third one. You don't have to copy because it's already copied, so we can just paste. And then we've got our third design, and I'm just moving this over as far as I can get it. So this is what I was saying, as far as it's going to be pretty tight. Look at, well, we'll see after the end. Do Control B like victory a fourth time. It's really a third because we already had that first one. And then we've got our 4 blocks. All right, so I'm going to click outside so nothing's selected, and you can see we don't have a whole lot of room. This is like an inch of space in between, and so there will be some overlap of our fabrics, but it's pretty doable. If you have a 10 by 10 hoop, I think that this is pretty doable. This one's pretty close to my hoop. I'm going to move it up just the tiniest bit. I'm going to make sure not to have any problems, because I have had where it looks like it's not too close, and then I get to my machine and it goes, change to a bigger hoop, and so it didn't like it. So you want to just make sure you're not over that hoop at all. All right, and now Lily's snoring. She's my little helper today. She's so cute. All right, so we've got our 4. This is all really good. Now, if we didn't do a color sort, I'm going to move this up just so I can see, because my editing software is in the way. It says down in that bottom right hand corner that there are 60 steps right now. So we want to do a color sort so that this was down here. You can't see it, but my software is in the way. But right down here, it tells you how many steps there are. So that's 60 steps. So we're going to do a color sort and see if we can bring that down. I'm thinking like 15. I don't remember how many steps there were initially, but we're going to check it all very closely. I'm just closing these design files so that we can see all of them. There's 12 designs right now. We can bring it down to 1 where it's all doing all of those parts together. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. We may have to make some changes. This may not have been enough just yet, but let's just check it and see. So I'm going to do a utility, right? Don't forget, we've got 12 designs right now. We're going to bring it down to 1 and see what it does and see if it gets everything. It may not, and you may have to make some changes. So I'm going to go to Utility Color Sort, and things. Don't forget, you don't want any of these checked, and you want your tolerance at 0, and it's reduced it to 45. Design has been reduced by 45 color changes. Oh, that might have done it. Wow, that'd be pretty cool. Let's check it. Always, I want to make sure you know, always click New View, because what it does is it opens another tab, and if something's not right, you can go back to that original tab. So it's super important to click New View. All right, so watch right here. You'll see it'll make another tab. New View, and see it made a second tab. Here's our first tab that's got those 12 designs. If we need to come back and make any changes, it's fine. So we're in Untitled 2 right now, and let's just check it and see if maybe it did it. That would be pretty amazing and pretty easy. All right, so 1-1, everything is together. It's the placement for our batting all together. That's perfect. And then our tack down for our batting, all good. And then all of the piecing template, great. And then all of that first design. And see, this is what I was saying, like if you're, depending on how many you're going to do in one hooping, we would put piece 1 down on all of the pieces and then watch it, of course, in case there's any overlap or anything. But you can do these separately. If it's too much to work on 4 or 2 blocks at a time, whatever, that's fine, you know, whatever works for you. But this will make it a pretty quick and easy project. And don't forget that we need 8 blocks total. So either way, we would need at least 2 hoopings, and it can't be the same, or it could if you wanted the quilting design to be the same. But on those other 4 blocks, we're doing a different quilting design. So there will be one small change, which will be easy to do. All right, so let's keep checking these. So 1, 4 is all perfect. That's the first piecing part all together, and then the second piece all together, the third piece all together, and the fourth piece all together, and the fifth, these are great, 6th, 7th. Good. And when I say 8th piece, it's not, they're not all different pieces. It's one part will be where we lay it down and we do a tack down, we flip it over, we tack that down. We'll go through all of the parts, but this is all part of the process and they're all joined together. So this is really good for each of the blocks. All right, and then 12, they're all together, good, and 13 all together, and 14, this is the tack down. This is the hardest part, is when you're making sure all 4 of them are going to tack down just right, and you're holding all of them kind of in place to make sure. But again, that water pen that I was telling you about, that makes it a lot easier. You're not like, oh, it really helps. All right, and those all worked out. Golly, this worked out beyond perfect. I thought for sure that we'd have to make some changes, and that worked perfectly. Perfect. I'm very excited about this. All right, so that one is really done. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then I'm going to just change out the quilting design for the second set. And gosh, this was so easy. And again, you would do the same process if you're choosing to do 2-in-1 hooping, like in an 8x12 hoop. Then you would do less than 4, obviously. So whatever works for you and your stress level of doing them all at once. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I am going to actually I'm going to do something a little different. If I click on this tab, I can change the name of the tab. I remember I did it. Oh, now it's not letting me do it. Oh, that's funny. I did it before. I was able to change the name of it. Okay, I'm going to do it different. So file, save, stitch, file as. I'm going to do both stitch and working. Let me see. Try just stitch file as. So I'm going to change. So that's interesting because I've got this little hiccup where my machine isn't liking me to change it. So I'm going to do a file, save, stitch, file, save, stitch, and working. I'm going to do that. It's asking where you want to save it. I'm going to go back to that original folder so that I have it for later. Can you hear my dog snoring? Oh boy. Let's see. So where is my folder? All right, so it's just asking you to navigate to the folder where you want to save them. I'm going back to my original folder. And don't forget, I've pointed out that the quilting was on the top, meaning it's the last step. All right, and I just want to point that out again. All right, so I'm going to say I'm going to say 10 by 10 first, so I remember what hoop to use, and then I'm going to name it, it's cracking me up that my dog is snoring. It's very distracting. I'm going to name this the quilting design. So this was plant. I'm going to say plant, and then 4, because there's 4 blocks. That's what I'm naming mine. It's whatever. I'm going to name it piece. I'm not 4 piece. I'm going to do that so I remember it's the piece block. All right, so whatever you name it, whatever you want, that will help you to find it later. And oh, there it goes. So now it's got the name up at the top. That's what I was hoping for. I remember it. I thought I did it differently before. Anyway, I'm going to send it to my machine and cross my fingers that it will do it. And if you don't have a machine that does that, then you would just save it to a USB stick or transfer it to a USB stick. All right, so that one is done. That one is great. I'm going to do a save as now. after I make one small change. So again, I want to point out, there's the quilting design. That's the last design. Perfect. All right, so on this, I'm just going to change it so that I've got one that's the plant, and then one that is the snowflakes, winter 7. So I'm just going to take this out. Let me see here. That's really easy. I'm just going to hit delete, and then I'm going to bring in that quilting design. Let's see, the folder is right there. And I'm going to go to the quilting and winter 7. Oh, there's also a winter 8. Make sure I got the right one. Winter 7. Okay. All right, embroidery files, block by block, Pez, and we want winter 7 in a 4x4, and I'm just going to drag it and bring it over. And then let me think. I need to have it in all of them. Okay, so there's probably another way to do it as well. It's hard when you're on camera to think about all the different options, but I'm going to just delete the steps 1 through 4 because we don't need that. We've got the placement and tack down to the batting earlier. I'm going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do, actually, you know what? Before I do that, don't do that just yet. I'm going to say undo. There's an undo button right there. I'm going to first use that to be able to line it up. Look at that. See, I can line that up just right. All right, and then I'm going to say copy, and I'm going to do 4 of these so that I've got 4 of them, and then we can join them in. It'll be super easy. So notice I just used the placement lines to be able to line it up, all right, because the other ones are already all joined together, so that was super easy to do. So I'm going to say Control C and Control V like victory to paste another one. It goes on top of that first one, and I'm just again using the lines that are underneath. So this line with here, I'm just lining that up. That's super easy. All right, and then Control V like victory for a third one, and I'm bringing it down to that third design to join, to line that up just right. And then Control V like victory for the last one. I'm just lining it up just right. Good. All right, so that I wanted to use that to be able to easily line those up, but we don't want any of those first parts. So I'm going to just, oops, a little bit like outside from the right hand side and drag over is the easiest way to delete the parts. So I'm just deleting steps 1 through 4 of all of those last parts that we grabbed in, that were brought in, because we don't want any of that. We just want the quilting design. All right, so those are great. So we can do a color sort again. You don't have to because they're lined up in a way that it's going to do those last anyway. Let me make sure I took the last one out from here. I did. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So right now it says we have 18 steps down here at the bottom. I'm going to do a utility color sort, and I don't know if it'll change the number. It should change it by 3. Let's just see. Color sort. Things. It says it's been sorted but not reduced because they were already grouped together anyway. So I'm going to click New View for another one, and now everything is here. Let's just check. Yep, there they are. All right, so the last step is our quilting design for the other quilting design. So this is perfect. I'm going to do another file, save as. I'm going to say save as Stitch and Working, and let's see. I'm going to name it 10 by 10, and this one was winter, and I'm going to say pieced. All right, again, name it whatever will help you to remember which file that you're looking for. And if you've got Thumbnailer, it will show you your design, so it makes it easy to find things. All right, so those are great. I'm going to send this to my machine also. And sent to the machine. So I'm all set. So again, if you're doing 2 of them, you saw how you just want to change all the colors, and however many you choose to do in a hooping, that part's not going to matter. You'll just run it through a couple more times. So we're all ready. I'm going to go ahead and get started after I eat a little bit of dinner. my shirt today. This is a fun one. So the shirt itself is actually one of my favorites. It's a little hoodie. It's thin. So for those that are in warmer weather than Idaho, which today we had a really warm day. The sun was glorious today. And so that's why I'm wearing a thinner shirt. But it's pretty thin, very thin, like shirt thin with a hoodie, so it looks like a sweatshirt, but it's just a shirt, and it's got in several colors, and I have several of them. I really like this one. So look at this design though. How fun is this? Except especially for Enchanted Winter. Like, this is from Etsy. I found it on Etsy. You need to do it on a darker shirt. That's one thing, is it's got a lot of white in it, and a lot of parts that aren't stitched, and so you want to use it on a dark shirt. And so fun with all the different colors. I really like this. So this is from Etsy. I will add a link underneath this video with all the information of where I found it on Etsy, and also the shirt also. So here's my Amazon storefront. Click on that to find the shirts that I recommend for embroidering on. This is a really good one. I've got it in several colors. I like this one, especially for that transition from seasons. You know, we're leaving summer and going into fall now, and it's not quite cold enough. It is at night, but not all the time. So this shirt is perfect for that. So I will add all the information underneath this video. How are you doing with your goal? Don't forget to give me updates on your goal. Don't just tell me your goal. Hold yourself accountable. Put in the comments on YouTube. That also helps the channel when you comment on YouTube, not on Facebook, but on YouTube. So if you do that, I want to be able to hear how you're doing with your goal. How is it going? What's the action plan? What are you working on toward your goal? So, you know, my goal, I have two of them. One is less hand holding and trying to not get overwhelmed with all of the project and the all of the filming and the editing and all the photos and the comments on the photos and answering all the questions. It can get extremely overwhelming for sure, but now that we're kind of in a rhythm, I think it's going better. So I feel like I'm doing better with my goal. I actually am turning off my notifications while I'm editing so that I'm not constantly interrupted. I still get them on my phone, or on my watch, so I still see them, but I'm trying to just super stay focused. So that's one action plan toward that goal. My other goal, I'm doing pretty well. I did a 2-mile walk. It was a walk with my 12-pound weighted vest, and then I did another half hour, another 2-mile workout run. That one was a run after, without my weighted vest. I think that running with weighted vest is probably not a good idea on your joints, and so I decided that's probably not a good idea. So I'm not doing that. I break it up. I do one that's a walk and one that's a run. So I got almost 4.5 miles today, so I was happy with that. And I normally do a strength workout in between also, and I didn't do that today because I'm quite sore from yesterday's workout. So I'm taking a day off from the strength portion of my workouts. But with that challenge that I'm in, with 10, I'm the only girl, there's 9 guys, there's 10 of us total that are in this challenge, and I was last place, and then I was 7th place, and now I'm 5th place. So I'm working my way up, but the guy that's currently in first place, he's more than 20 miles ahead of me. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually catch up, but either way, I'm running my race, and that's all that matters. I'm working on my personal goals. So how are you doing with your goals?